on this episode of Podigious.
Oh, by the way, Matt and Sora wind up together, and we were like, what?
You're gonna need a password.
You can use mine to get on the internet.
Podigious!
Welcome to Podigious, episode 002. We're joined by very special guests this episode, but I'm Jeff, and joined by Ashley.
Hi.
And Asher.
Hey.
And very special guest, Jeff Nimoy.
Hey guys, how's it going?
So for fans who aren't aware, Jeff, can you tell us what your role was in Digimon?
Season 1 and 2, as well as the movie and Revenge of Diaboromon, and Season 5, Digimon Data Squad. I was the main director, the writer, story editor, voice actor of Tentomon, Digivolve 2! Among other job descriptions, supervising producer on Data Squad. So Digimon is a big part of my life and has been since around 1999.
Cool. It kind of baffles my mind to think about how many different things you did for it. So many different roles.
Well, it's not unheard of in this industry to wear a lot of different hats. And I'm happy to wear them as long as, I'm doing a good job. The producers are happy to have me as well. So I love Digimon. Digimon is probably what's going to be on my tombstone one day. So I'm connected to it forever.
Cool. So now we're going to dive into some questions. So I'll start off. So it seems like looking through some of your older interviews, there were a couple of interviews with Chris McFeely on the Digipedia website, and with the Will Q&A, and an interview on the AO Digimon YouTube channel. It seems like you kind of reach out every couple of years and kind of get back into the fandom and spread the word and stuff. And so I was wondering, as you've been spreading... Oh, I just realized I did not mention the stage of Q&A yet. That should have been the beginning.
Well, that's okay, but that's the reason why I'm reaching out these days to the fans. Yeah. I'm going to be doing this live Jeff Nimoy anime Q&A, not just for Digimon, but my whole career. I've also been the writer-director on Bleach and Naruto. Season 1, Naruto is the original director on Naruto. And, of course, I played the voice character of Wolfwood on Trigun, which I'm very famous for in the anime community. And Stitch, which was one of my favorite things to write, which were the further adventures of Lilo and Stitch without Lilo, who's the anime version of Stitch. So I'm going to be doing this big Q&A on Saturday, a week from today, Saturday the 21st, on stageit.com. And just figured I'd reach out to all the fans over the years that I've connected with and let them know. So you can participate for as little as 10 cents if you want. You can donate a lot of money if you want as well. It all goes to this website that I run. A lot of people that know me know I'm very into food. And one of the things I have is called sameplate.com. It's a free website. It's a dating site that matches people by the food you eat. And it's free for everybody except for me. It does cost me some money to run it. So all proceeds will go to the sameplate.com fund, which runs it.
Cool. Yeah. And I mean, the Q&A seems like a really, really good opportunity for fans who, have never been able to see you at a panel or at a convention, and just to jump in and, get some interaction with you, which is really cool.
Thanks. Well, that's the other thing I'm doing this year is I'm going on tour of anime conventions. Starting right now, my first date is in April, the first weekend of April in Nashville at MTAC, Mid-Tennessee Anime Convention. There's just no way for me to visit every city that people request me to come to. The last convention tour I did was, I think, 2008 or 2009, and that Quentin Flynn and I did a tour. Quentin was starring on Digimon Data Squad at the time. So this time I'm going solo, and there's just no way to reach everybody. So I figured, Stage It, if this works out. This is my first Stage It show as well. So if this works out, I'll be able to do a lot of them and reach out to fans all over the world without actually having to go visit them.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if you're listening, you should definitely check it out. It's a really cool opportunity. You shouldn't miss it. It's
at 12 noon on at Pacific time on Saturday the 21st on stageit.com. You just have to sign up for an account, and then they'll walk you through it.
Yep, and we'll have a link in the show notes so you can find the Q&A.
Awesome.
It'll be pretty cool.
Thanks. And I found you guys, by the way, just by searching Digimon websites to let them know about the staged show. And when I came across the name Podigious, I just had to contact you guys. It's one of my favorite words. My partner on Digimon in the early days, Bob Buchholz, it was one of his favorite words. In fact, in the movie, Digimon the movie that we adapted from our war game movie, we actually made it Izzy's password to get onto the internet. It's a pretty easy password to hack.
Whatever.
But nobody's hacking Izzy. He's got firewalls upon firewalls.
Building on that, is there anything... I'm curious how you think the fandom looks in comparison to the last time you've reached out. It seems like the last big effort you did was 2006, which is a long time ago. It was before Data Squad.
I think I did the AO Digimon interview a little after that.
Oh, yeah.
But it has changed in like different topics are hot whenever I reach out. And right now the big topic is, of course, the new Digimon series that unfortunately I have nothing to do with. I don't know why I have nothing to do with it, but it wasn't my decision. I don't know who's running it, who's in charge of it, but whoever it is didn't feel the need to get Jeff Nimoy to work on it, which is sad because I hate when Digimon's going on without me. But the other big topic is all of a sudden, I don't know why it's a hot topic now, but the Sora Matt versus the Sora Tai connection. All of a sudden, this has exploded, and I don't know why, but it's old news to me. For the record, I'm in the Tai Sora camp. I don't think it's a secret that I'm into the Tai Sora camp, but the reason I am because they never told me anything different. When I say they, the Japanese creators, when we were working in collusion with them to do the Digimon series, they sent us the stories and whatever, and we would adapt them for American audiences. But I never knew anything remotely that they were trying to hint that she would wind up with Matt one day. So we just wrote it that way. It just seemed natural to us. And all of a sudden, one day we get this note that, oh, by the way, Matt and Sora wind up together. And we were like, what? We just wrote the whole thing differently. Now what do we do? So that's why the American version is skewed so heavily in that direction.
From what I've heard of the various writers of the Japanese version too, that not everyone was on the same page. Like I think director had that in mind from the beginning, but didn't tell anyone. So
right, and he didn't tell me either. So, and he didn't. Apparently, he didn't tell the writer that wrote the movie Our War Games, because that's also very heavily Tai versus Sora. The lover spat sort of thing. It's a big storyline. So he should have clued us in. I could have made it work. Oh well. But that's the big difference I see right now in the hot topics. And of course, the fans get younger and younger, and I get older and older. So, at conventions, I have people in their 30s now coming up to me and saying, "Oh, I loved Digimon when I was a kid." And it makes me scratch my head a little bit that I've got 30-year-old fans that watched the original broadcasts of these shows. It's a little strange.
Yeah, I can imagine.
We're like a little younger than that, but only a little.
Just a little, though.
But I'm glad it has a life with the next generations and generations to come. It makes me very happy.
Yeah.
Should I piggyback off of this? I feel like.
Please.
Yeah.
My question fits this is just like, so what was the dubbing process, and has it changed from Adventure to Data Squad? Because I just imagine that, like, the stuff where you're allowed to show on children's cartoons has somewhat changed in that time, and especially now.
Well, it wasn't that easy back in 99, 2000, I'll tell you that. But it got worse, actually, in 2005, 2006, when we were doing data science.
Really?
Yeah. There's this thing called Broadcast Standards and Practices, BS&P, and they have to approve everything. They're a bunch of just people with degrees in children's education, and some are lawyers, some are just educators, and they decide what is allowable and what's not allowable. And back in the day, it was more of words and repeatable acts, like you couldn't hit someone over the head because then some kid might want to hit their brother over their head or whatever, although this was never a problem when I was growing up in the 70s, when people blew up each other, Bugs Bunny, Tom and Jerry, and Woody Woodpecker. They were just like killing each other practically. Literally. I mean, then, they would blow someone up and the next scene would be the characters up in heaven, as angels. So you could never do something like that in today's world. And it just goes to show you that all that stuff, it's so harmful when I was a kid that you grow up to make kids TV. That's how harmful it is when you watch that stuff. So it's really not that harmful in my opinion, but whatever, you can't do it today. So the big thing in the first two seasons, I really don't think I remember anything that stands out that they were like, you cannot do this, take it out. We never had a big argument. We had a huge one in Data Squad. I can't remember the episode, but there was this, Disney owned it back then too, in the Data Squad. Fox Kids owned the first two seasons. Yeah. But then Disney bought Fox Kids outright, and so they owned Digimon after that. So there was this one episode where they're walking through an amusement park, much like Disneyland. So they had this Digimon, I think it was called Bomber Divermon. I'm not sure what the character's name was, but it was a giant bomb, pretty much, walking through Disneyland. And Disney obviously was not going to allow that to happen. So the producer, Rita Majcut, had this great idea to colorize the bomb into a big tangerine and make the tangerine going around, instead of explosives coming out, it would just be fireworks. We got a lot of heat from the fans, especially the original Japanese lovers, the sub fans. But it was either that or never put it on the air. And I thought it would be a waste not to put it on the air. It was a pretty good storyline for Thomas. So I thought it was a good save. It's a good cheat. You're not going to satisfy everyone, that's for sure, especially the original Japanese fans. But I thought it was a pretty good save on Rita's part.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that, because Andrew actually wanted to ask you about that specific scene. So we got it, Andrew. Yay.
Yeah, I think a lot of fans look at it as just like, if something is different, that means bad. And
right.
Yeah, I mean, we're definitely of the camp that, like, if it's different, then there's reasons for it. And unless it, like, hurts the original intent, like, even if it changes the original intent, like, it still can be good on its own right. So.
Right. Well, here's a major change in every episode I worked on. It's in English. So that's the biggest difference. So right away, a lot of people just don't like my work just because it's in English. I think they would rather us just air the Japanese show with subtitles. But that's not going to happen in America and a lot of other English-speaking countries where Digimon went out to. So, and it was my job to make it more of an American show. So, there's plenty of people who hate me, but that's okay. There's plenty of people who like it too.
So piggybacking on that a little, were there any episodes whose source material you really didn't like working on?
Well, I don't know about source material. The source material I didn't mind so much, but there's this one character that drove me crazy in the first, I think it was season 1, but I could be mistaken. It could be season 2. It was Cherrymon, who was this giant tree with a big mustache. Man, I hated Cherrymon. I hated him not because of Cherrymon, not because of the animation, not because of the source material, because our producer at the time, Terry Lee O'Malley, she auditioned every kind of voice for it. She didn't like anything I chose. And then, just as a goof, I was doing like a Marlon Brando impersonation for Cherrymon. It was something like, The Godfather, right out of The Godfather. And she was like, yes, that's it. That's perfect. Let's go with that. And, after about 2 minutes of recording that voice, my voice was gone. And it was just so hard to communicate as that character. And the first thing I did when I saw all of Digimon Data Squad and I saw Cherrymon was a new character, I said, I'm changing this character completely. I am putting a new voice on him. I'm giving him new personality. So that was definitely first order of business for season 5.
I did see that in the With the Will Q&A from 2006, where you were talking about how Cherrymon was so frustrating, and then fans were like, uh-oh, don't tell him that Cherrymon's prominent in Data Squad.
That's amazing.
I had the luxury on Data Squad. I had a couple of luxuries on Data Squad, which is why it was my favorite season to work on. The first was technology and the internet had come so much further than in 99 and 2000 that I was actually able to watch the entire series in Japan before we even started working on it in America. So I had that luxury of knowing where I was going to wind up. Whereas Digimon, they would only give it to us maybe a month after it aired in Japan, things like that. So I was always sort of wondering what was happening next in Digimon seasons 1 and 2, which is the reason I got into the trouble with, Tai and Sora. But in Digimon Data Squad, I really was able to watch the whole thing, have a real fleshed out, good idea of where it was going from episode 1 to episode 50. I think it was 50 episodes in that season. And the other advantage I had was, at that point, I had a pretty good reputation with Digimon, and Disney didn't really know too much about the franchise, having bought it from Fox Kids. So they let me run it the way I saw fit. So they didn't really interfere, whereas seasons 1 and 2, the Japanese had a much heavier hand in the development of it, and Fox Kids had an even heavier hand in the development of those seasons. So I really enjoyed Data Squad more than the others. Not to say I didn't like the others, but Data Squad's my favorite because I got to cast it however I liked. I got to choose the actors. It was just fantastic. A really great experience.
Cool. I can't wait until we get to that on the podcast so we can watch it. Because I've only seen the Japanese subbed, and excited to see Data Squad.
I saw a bit of it.
Oh, that doesn't sound like a
Well, no. It was airing. I was in college, I think, and I didn't get a chance to see the rest of it. Like, I caught up, and then there wasn't any more, and I was like, oh.
Yeah, I was disappointed there weren't any more either. But Digimon has a habit of taking 6 years off and making a series, taking 6 years off and making a season. So
yeah, and
I'm interested to see. I have not watched any of the new Digimon Adventures. I think it's airing right now, but I'm not sure.
It's starting in a couple weeks. Or it's probably going to start in around the beginning of April.
I'm sure I know everyone who worked on it. Only I'm just not working on it. So, What else can I answer for you guys?
Well, I think we're running over time.
How about one more question? You got one more question for me?
Sure. So I was reading in the comments of the AO Digimon interview you did, I think it was about 2 years ago, and you mentioned that season 2 was the hardest because everyone else had input or had their own inputs, and it was really hard to compromise all that. And can you think of any instances where you had to fight over something really hard, or you had to compromise something that you wanted to do?
Well, season 2 was once a show is a hit like Digimon was in season 1. I think we averaged somewhere between 8 and 11 million viewers every week. Everyone starts to want to put their little stamp on it to show that they were a part of the success, if not the reason for the success. A lot of producers and executives come out of the woodwork and things like that. And there were little bit parts that I wanted to cast. There was someone's teacher. I can't remember whose teacher, but I played him as a Jerry Lewis. He looked like Jerry Lewis to me. He was very, oh yeah, hey lady, oh yeah, with the height and don't. And it just seemed very like a good spot to do something like that, which, I like to pepper my little shows with little celebrity impersonations, things like that. Wally Wingert, the great voice actor, and I, have done that quite a bit in Zatch Bell together. We had Don Adams and Adam West, all these little things that, the regular viewing audience probably won't know unless you're a fan of that particular actor. But I wanted to do this Jerry Lewis thing. And, I was just having an argument with someone about something else. I don't remember exactly what we were arguing about, but they were mad at me. And just out of spite, they said, no, this is too over the top funny. Now, if you know my notes from my interviews on Digimon, the notes were almost always make it funnier, make it funnier, make it funnier. So this was so ridiculous that make it less funny was just so out of spite, so angry. And, I recast it with rewrote it with some straight dialogue, and it was very unentertaining, in my opinion. There was one other thing that's coming to mind now, the cat. The cat in the movie.
Oh.
Yeah.
That damn cat. I played the cat. And I play a lot of animals throughout the season, I'm famous for crows. If you ever hear a crow on TV, chances are it's me from some sound library,
It sounds perfect.
Thank you. So I played the cat. The whole fight scene, and they pretty much cut the whole fight scene. They didn't cut the fight scene. They cut the audio for the fight scene when the cat is running around with the Digimon trying to get the food at the beginning, Koromon, and they just cut the sound to put, it's been 1 week since you looked at me, something like that. I forget what song they played, but they pretty much just cut that, and that was also like, oh man, it probably took me an hour to record that fight scene. and they pretty much just cut it, in favor of a song. So, but the other thing about the cat was, after I recorded the entire cat, one of the executives was a cat freak. She loved cats, and she kept saying, "That's not what my cat sounds like." I'm like, "Yeah, but that's what this cat sounds like," and she made me hold auditions for the cat. It was kind of ridiculous. And we recorded 10 people doing it, and we actually mixed it with 3 different people trying, the cat to her satisfaction. And at the end, the actual dialogue mixer just left my voice in there at the end, and no one noticed. Not one person noticed. It was still me. And at the screening of it, the internal screening, it was not the premiere, but the internal screening, I clearly heard my voice as the cat. And I looked over at the dialogue editor, and he just looked over at me from across the theater, and he just shook his head yes, because he knew I knew just by recognizing my own voice. And I just gave him the thumbs up, and it was a little mini victory for me.
Wow.
Well, guys, thank you so much for promoting my StageIt.com interview Q&A coming up on Saturday the 21st at 12 noon Pacific time. I really appreciate the time and the little tease that you're giving your fans. And thank you for keeping Digimon alive. It'll always be a part of me. And I think you guys are prodigious.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks, guys. I hope to see you on Saturday the 21st. Okay, bye-bye.
See ya.
Hi.
Bye. So that's the end of our interview with Jeff Nimoy. If you're jealous that we got to ask him questions and you want to ask your own, then you should totally attend his Q&A live stream this Saturday. It's a 30-minute live stream at 12 p.m. Pacific time, and there's a link in the show notes. From what I understand about stage performances in general, the stream probably won't be recorded, and so the only way is to see it live. Watching the stream and submitting questions does require a paid ticket, though. The ticket is pay what you can, with a suggested price of $1 and a minimum of 10 cents, and rewards if you donate higher amounts. But adding money to your account requires adding at least $5. If that's a problem for you, you can create an account, then select Hitch a Ride, and that people with extra money can get a ticket for you. If you're listening to this after Saturday, February 21st, then kinda sucks to be you, sorry. You should listen sooner. We want to thank Jeff again. A couple of times in the podcast we made jokes about how we could have Jeff Nimoy on the show to ask him questions, and we never thought it would actually happen. It was really fun. You can find the full notes and comment section of this episode at podigious.com/002. If this is your first episode of Podigious, prepare to be disappointed because we don't have Jeff Nimoy on every episode. We've covered all Adventure. We're in the middle of discussing Adventure 02. And we just discussed Ira Kennymon's introduction, and you can listen to all of our old episodes at podigious.com or in any podcast app. You should follow us on Twitter, Tumblr, and Facebook. This is also the first episode we're putting out on YouTube. Hi, if you're listening on YouTube. I hear those like and subscribe buttons are really fun to click. We're planning to put our backlog and new episodes on YouTube soon, so subscribe to the channel to let us know if you prefer to listen on YouTube. As always, we love your iTunes reviews, and I print out every 5-star review and shove it in the face of a Pokemon fan until they cry. We don't have any more surprise episodes up our sleeves, so join us as we watch episodes 30 through 37 next time on Podigious. 02 wrongs don't make a right. Bye, and remember, never stop digivolving.